On today's episode, we talk about OpenClaw. We talk about how to communicate with your OpenClaw to set it up. And we talk about some useful projects that you can build in OpenClaw. Pete walks us through some of his own personal projects. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the AI Lab Unfiltered podcast. I am Drew from BizStream, joined by Mr. Pete Tarrant from New Wave.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are today's guest on
I am.
this episode.
I am. And you just accused me of looking nervous before this started.
You do look nervous.
And I think I am a little bit because I've been working, we're going to talk about OpenClaw today, and doing a lot of stuff with it. And I even did a presentation like a week and a half ago where basically I'm going to do that same thing again. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I do kind of feel a little nervous.
Well, it does get a little nerve-wracking when you're trying to show off a live demo.
Yeah.
Because software notoriously fails when it's on a live demo. You can work till midnight, and you have.
And I did
many
last night.
Yeah, and it works fine. But when it goes live, it's a different story.
What was the old TV show thing where they said never work with kids and dogs? Remember when they used to say that?
Never
I think technology, that's like kids, dogs, and technology you should never do live.
Exactly, because it always goes wrong.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about OpenClaw. We're going to talk about some of the things that you have built with it, your experience with it. My experience ends at about 14 hours into it because it took me 13 and a half hours to get it up and running.
Yep.
It was such a pain in the ass to get going, to get running. I finally got it going up and rolling, and then I just switched to Claude. So I'm excited to see your experience and how you've been working with it. I know you've had some issues along the way. You've had to wipe the system a couple times and rebuild. I think some of that is just due to, in my opinion, even when I build stuff in Claude Code, it's like, okay, now I did kind of my proof of concept. Now I want to start from the beginning, knowing what I know now.
Yep.
So take it away. Let's see what you got.
Well, you did really struggle because I'm the one who said to you, like, let's both get these OpenClaw agents running, and then we can ultimately, like, we could have a working group where we have multiple people that are using OpenClaw, and we'll all learn from each other. And you really struggled, and I really struggled too. I eventually figured it out, but you were already using Claude.
Yeah.
And so it was, for you, it was like, it wasn't OpenClaw or nothing. It was OpenClaw that really fucking sucks setting up, or go back to what I know that works, which is great in Claude, which since OpenClaw has come out, they've inched closer and closer to all the capabilities that OpenClaw already has.
Yeah.
So I would have done the same thing if I were you. And actually, if anybody's asking me today about agentic AI, like a personal assistant AI, I'm telling them to go to Claude. I'm not recommending anyone to OpenClaw. I'm still using it just because it's the sunk cost fallacy.
Right.
I've got so much time into it already, and I've trained it on so many things and fed it so much information and trying to, form this personal assistant that I do feel like I've just spent way too much time and I'd be blowing all that. I am, however, I think I told you earlier today that I'm going to create a Claude account this weekend, and I'm going to try to transfer the OpenClaw stuff over to Claude.
I'm interested to see how well that works.
Yeah, me too. And it's going to be a shit show, I'm sure, but I'll learn a lot through it.
Yeah.
But Claude more and more is just really impressing me with what Anthropic is doing with it. They're releasing new features all the time, and they're also being very intentional about like pre-packaging skills that can be used for small business. That's the world that I live in, is consulting, with companies with AI. So I think some people could probably leverage OpenClaw, but I really think the business future of personal AI assistants or work assistants or whatever it is, I really think it's going to be Claude and CoWork and Claude Code and all that stuff that they're doing there.
Yeah, I think they were feeling the pinch of, oh shit, this OpenClaw that came out starting to eat our lunch here. We got to step it up, because you mentioned on the show earlier that it seemed like at that same time, because I never used Claude at that point, and I was just starting to trying to get my freaking OpenClaw to work.
Yeah.
Again, literally I have 13, 14 hours into setting that up. And then I said, screw this. And within an hour and a half of jumping on Claude for the first time, and Claude Code and Claude Cowork, within an hour and a half, I'm like, I got like 2 things built already and
Yeah.
rolling. And it was so easy. And that was, I wouldn't say when it first came out, but it was very early on, which, was like 3 months ago. But since then, they've come out. It was like every day they came out with 2 more. Here's 2 more features that we
Yeah.
added on. Here's 2 more options. Here's 2 more things.
Good ones, not just like
Yeah, yeah.
throwaway stuff to say, hey, we released something today. Like good stuff, like
Exactly.
useful stuff.
Exactly.
The same experience. So the leadership team at New Wave, when I got my OpenClaw set up, I'm like, you guys need to do this too. And this whole group of people that I was going to have together, like learning from this, and we sat in a conference room together for 4 hours trying to get them set up on it.
Yeah.
And that's why I stopped recommending anybody to it. Claude, I've talked about this so many times. There's the iPhone sexy version of technology, and then there's the Android, wide open, build it how you want, but it's not intuitive all the time. And that's the difference really between Claude and OpenClaw for me, is just that ease of use. So that's, unless you are a masochist and you enjoy the pain of figuring things out, I would stay away from OpenClaw and just go right to Claude. And it's easy to set up. Not that you're not going to have your own challenges, but it's going to be a lot easier to get going, and so where you can start doing stuff and not spending a day or two just being able to chat with it.
Exactly. Well, let's get you plugged in. I want to see this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share my screen. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to just show some things that I've been working on with it. I don't know.
You know how to use that?
What were you nervous about, Pete? Plugging in the HDMI cable. That was the hardest part of the whole demonstration. So we're sharing my screen. Hopefully none of my friends send me anything vulgar during the recording here. And I'm probably giving away, like, people are going to be able to hack me as soon as this is done. But I use a software called Telegram to interact with OpenClaw. And that's honestly why these open agents like a Hermes or an OpenClaw, or there's a million of them now. And even Claude and Anthropic copied this feature, because this is what really set it on fire, I think, is you didn't have to be in front of your computer to interact with it. Because I have the Telegram app on my computer like we're seeing now, but I also have it on my phone. So I could be in my office working on a project, and then I go out to lunch. And maybe while I'm at lunch, instead of scrolling through Reddit or whatever, I go and pull up my Telegram app, and I'm continuing to code and build this thing anywhere that I go. I could be at halftime of my kids' soccer match. I could say, okay, go ahead and build that. It's mobile. It goes wherever you go, and that's just a huge feature. But you can also do it with Slack. You can do it with Microsoft Teams. These things
WhatsApp.
support every messaging app that you can think of now, which is awesome. But I've been using Telegram for a decade, so that's just what I went with because I was already using it.
Which, for our viewers, when you set up OpenClaw, it has to have a chat-based text system to interact with it on the front end. That's how you communicate with the back end of OpenClaw.
It comes...
how you get it to do things, I guess, is where you prompt.
Yes, but you're going to want an app like a Telegram or a WhatsApp or whatever, but there is a way, if you didn't have any of those and you didn't want to use them, when you first install OpenClaw, there is a web interface that you can go to, and you could do it there, but it's not portable. Like, that's not an app on your phone that you can take somewhere and take with you.
It's a little more
That's
clunky.
a good point. It's very clunky. So you are going to definitely want to get something like this to interact with it. So a couple things while we're in here. This seems like a minor thing, but it was a monumental change for me in using it. So you see over on the left-hand side here, I've got Melvin. So Melvin is what I named my OpenClaw main agent. Like, my chief of staff is Melvin. Melvin has sub-agents that he manages and checks in on and does all that stuff. So I have a chat. And when I first started, I just had one chat, and I did everything through this one chat. So if I was working on 3 projects at the same time, I would have to either scroll all the way back up to where the other project left off, and then go from there. And then I saw, go to YouTube if you're doing this kind of stuff, because there's so many great creators out there, way better than what I'm doing now and demonstrating the right ways to use this. But I saw somebody that started creating different chats for different projects. So then you're not having to scroll back up and try to figure out where you left off. So I have a food management project. This is one of the main things that I want to demonstrate here today. One of the very first things that I thought of when OpenClaw became a thing was, how can I build projects for myself that I can use that will give me, I'll be able to learn things and building things for myself that I can help clients with.
Sure.
So one of the things that frustrates me in my household, and I'm not the one who does it, so the frustrations are all my own fault. But I feel like we waste a lot of food in my house, and we spend a lot of money on groceries that, bread that gets moldy, food that expires that we bought, because we were hungry, and it sits in the fridge, and then you forget about it because it gets pushed all the way to the back and it expires, and then you just wasted all of that. We don't have a plan. Like, we almost kind of live every couple of days. We're just buying the next couple of days worth of groceries and having them delivered via Instacart or whatever. It's just not, it's not structured. And it was frustrating for me. So I thought, man, this should be something that AI is really good at. So I came up with this food management project. And the idea is that how it started was, I built the project and I gave it its own thread here so I could keep track of it. Created a project within OpenClaw so I could manage it within there. And I told it kind of the overall overview of what I wanted it to do, which is I wanted it to know what my family likes to eat. We don't have any food allergies in our house, but if you did, you could do this, consider allergies when you're, building these things out. And then take what we like and build out a meal plan, week by week meal plan, and then have an inventory of what we have in the house. And if we have what we need, then we have what we need. But if we have a meal that's planned, but we don't have an ingredient for it, it will go and populate the Instacart cart and come back to me and say, hey, you need to buy flour for, you're making bread on Saturday, so you need to buy some flour. Hit, approve it, and I'll order it, and it'll show up on your doorstep, and it'll be ready. It'll be here for Saturday for when you're making bread. So that's the kind of the whole thing overall.
Okay.
So how we started off is I gave my OpenClaw the ability to send emails, and I think it's using Agent Mail. I think it's how it's doing it. And I gave it everybody in the family's personal email address. And I said, okay, I want you to reach out to my family and ask them what they like to eat, what they don't like to eat, anything. And it came up with its own. I said, what questions are the best ones to ask to get the information that we need? And it came up with a list of questions. And then I emailed my family. And then I had to go tell them all to respond to Melvin because its dad wants to do it, so they don't want to do it, that kind of thing. So I'm begging them to reply, which they ultimately all did. So when those emails came back in, Melvin scanned them and built a database of what everybody likes to eat. And then it started meal planning. It planned out a whole week's worth of meals. It built the database. We haven't populated it yet because that's a lot of work and I haven't taken the time to do that. And it also has the integration. It's not an API to Instacart, but it can use its own browser to go to Instacart and populate the cart and do that whole thing. And then it's up to me. It won't buy it without my permission. So I have to be the one that goes in there just to make sure it's not spending money that I don't want it to spend.
Sure.
Go spend $1,000 on grapes or, adult diapers.
Here's your pallet of grapes.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like, oh, you need more? So that's really the workflow as it is. So let me see. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I forgot that's in here that's cool. Like I can type here in the chat, or I could do it from the app, and I could say, if I'm driving and I'm like, man, it'd be nice to have some ice cream, and I could just in the app, I could verbally say it, or I could type it and say, add some ice cream to
I thought you
the.
should text and drive.
No, you should not do that. But I could, if I'm thinking of something, I could, wherever I'm at, I could say, just add this to the shopping list and it would do it.
Nice.
Versus, typically how it works is, shower thoughts. So my wife and I are getting ready in the morning. I'll be in a shower and I'll be like, hey, we need cat food or whatever it is. And then she goes to the app and then she adds it and whatever. So now we can the whole family could do that really, and add things to it. I guess I'd have to put some kind of a gate on there so that my kids don't only order ice cream or snacks or whatever. But I did this demonstration for a group a week and a half ago. So I showed them, this is another cool thing about these open agents, is that you can build a kind of a mission control. And this is not pretty. I've spent zero time like making this legible. A ton of the content that's in this thing is all stuff that it created without me asking it to. But you can see here, this is the meal plan for the week.
Nice.
So when I was doing this demonstration, there was a different thing on Tuesday, and somebody in the crowd said, well, it's got to be Taco Tuesday. You have to have tacos on Tuesday. So during the demonstration, I went into Melvin and I said, just live during the demo and said, hey, make a new rule. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. So then it went and it updated the page. And you can even see here, dinner first, starter week updated with standing Taco Tuesday rule. And that's like, I didn't ask it to type that on the screen, because these things will take liberty with the instructions that you give them and sometimes add things that you don't want. But I could spend hours and hours and hours coming back into just mission control and just like editing out the things that I don't like and modifying things, and because none of this is how I want it. You can go down here. It knows what's in the Instacart cart. Avocados, lime, cilantro, all these things are in here, so you can see that without even having to log into Instacart to get that update. So I just thought it was a lot of fun. I don't know if there was anything else that I wanted to share with this. I've got other stuff in here too. What else do I have? That's work stuff. That's the food thing. Projects. So I'm always coming up with ideas for projects. So I asked Melvin to create just a project management page. And so that's what this is. So we spent a lot of time figuring out how to build an agentic framework within OpenClaw. And what I mean by that is having, like I said before, we have Melvin kind of being that orchestration agent who's using the most recent frontier language model. So he's using Codex 5.5 right now. But if Melvin did all the work that I asked it to do, it would always be using 5.5, which is the most token intensive model that you can use. So the idea of having subagents do that work is they're using a much more efficient model, which is whatever. I don't even remember what it is anymore. I just said use the most efficient model available within OpenAI. Ultimately, if I wanted to, I could attach an open weight model that is free to use, and it could use those tokens when it's using the subagents, but I haven't set that up yet. But the idea then, there is something that I want to show you. I think it's this one. Yeah, lessons. So we think about agentic framework. I don't know jack shit about agentic frameworks, but these big companies, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, they're releasing guidance around how to build these things all the time. Right. So let's say that there was something cool that I found in a YouTube video that I wanted Melvin to learn how to do. Think about the movie The Matrix, right? Where Neo's in the table and they plug the thing into his neck and he's like, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build that for OpenClaw, and that's what this is. So I can I'm watching YouTube videos about OpenClaw all the time. If there's one that I really like, which would be any of these here, I can take that link and I paste it into Telegram, and it knows whenever it gets a YouTube link to add that to the YouTube lessons page. And what it'll do is it'll ingest the transcript. In a future version, it will also take screenshots so it can see what's on the screen and model that too. But it'll take it and it'll say, okay, here's all the lessons that were in this video. I wonder if I click open lesson, if that's what it does. Yeah, so it'll say, this is what the video is about. Here's the analysis. And then here's the transcript. It doesn't have, so in the actual Telegram chat, and I built this as a skill so it's repeatable. It will say, okay, here's everything that's in the video. Here are the things that you're already doing. So we don't have to like reinvent the wheel because you're already doing that part. Here are the things that you don't currently do that would work in our environment. And here are the things that you should absolutely stay away from. And so then I'll read through that and I'll say, okay, I like the things that we're not doing yet. So just go build all of those. And it just goes and does it. So it's a really streamlined way of making your agent more intelligent and learning from other people and all the great content that gets created online. Like why would you go and hand type your own summary of these videos and I want you to do this, this, and this when you can just give it the link and it does it for you. So
do you add in like you find these online, you go, ooh, I want to add that one. You're watching the video and you go, yep, I need that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You fire it over to it. Like how does it know which ones you want? Because there's so many that are out there.
This is what it looks like in real life. So I'll be on the couch after dinner. Every night I'm watching YouTube videos about OpenClaw, and I'll find one that I like, and I'll go to my laptop and I'll find that video in YouTube, copy the link, and just go right into Telegram. Actually, let's do this. So if I want to say, this is us with John, I'll copy the link, go back to Telegram, and if I just paste this in here, now it takes a second, and I'll show you the output, but that's literally what I'm doing. Couple nights a week. If I find a video that I really like, and even sometimes you watch the video, but you want to watch the video. You don't want to watch it and take notes so that you can go back to you could do this with Claude too. It doesn't have to just be an OpenClaw thing. Like you could literally do the same thing and you create a skill that's, whatever you want to name it. That's the YouTube ingestion skill, and just say, hey, we're going to use these videos to make you better and make you more aligned with what I want to get out of a personal agent. Hopefully it doesn't take too long.
But you're manually finding the video and copying that link in.
Yeah. I guess you could take it a step further and create one that, periodically goes to YouTube and just searches for,
based on your interests.
Based on your interests, you like OpenClaw. You could even probably be more specific and say, hey, these are the 3 content creators that I really like, that I've watched for a long time. I know they always have great content. They're not, trying to bullshit me or anything. So for these 3 creators, if they post an OpenClaw video, automatically ingest that and give me the report of, what we're already doing, what we could be doing, and what to stay away from. So I don't know how long this is. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can talk. Oh, well, while this is going, another thing that you need to know about using like an OpenClaw is how you host it. So you'll hear people talk about how their OpenClaw can run their computer. Like it could literally go in and organize their files in SharePoint or their, whatever their, file folder is. I don't host mine locally. And if I did, I could do those same things. I host mine in a virtual private server or VPS. It's called Hostinger. I chose them because some of the content creators that I follow, they were promoting it. But they also have a one-touch or a one-button OpenClaw install option for Hostinger. So if you had that when you were setting it up, it might have gone a lot better.
That's what I used.
Oh, it was?
That's exactly what I used.
Shit, I guess it didn't work very well. But that's how mine is hosted. So I am I have to do workarounds for certain things. Like even to get it to use a browser and do things on behalf of me, I have to do some unique workarounds to make that happen. I know we're kind of running out of time, so we can start to wrap up here, but this is the output. So again, this is a skill I created. So every time I upload a video, I get the same structured output every time. I get stuff we already do, stuff that we should implement, and stuff that we should avoid. So based off of the AI Lab unfiltered video, John is basically saying least privilege reviews for tools, which is great advice. Better proceed loop UX. Yep, I like that too. So we're already doing long running workflow discipline, which is something that I've actually been working on with Melvin for about a week now. Is I don't want you to have to come to me every time you get finished doing something when you know when all I'm going to do is say proceed. Like that shouldn't happen unless there's a special permission that you need, like to spend money or email somebody or whatever it is. You should just keep going until it's done. So we've been working a lot on that.
And that's, and I know because Claude has the same thing. Claude and Copilot, or excuse me, Claude and Cowork and in Claude Code does the same thing. It'll come up. It's actually a security thing, but I'm 100% with you. I'm just going to keep saying yes.
Yeah.
Unless it's something major where it's, I need to spend money or I need access to something very specific that's more confidential.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you.
And there's a lot of good guidance out there for, getting longer running, and it's gotten incrementally better, but it's still not. I'm still having to, I don't know if I shared this example with you.
Just constantly.
Yeah. What is the Simpsons episode where Homer works in the nuclear factory
and the bird.
He figured out that he could just get that little bird that would just do this and it would press a button for him and he could just walk away. Like that's what it feels like when you're building stuff with these, because you have to constantly come back and go, proceed.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Yeah.
And that's not the experience that I want, or that I think anybody really wants. Maybe out of the gate, so you kind of get used to what it does and how it does it. But once you've seen its output enough times, just like, I'm not a coder. What am I? Right. I'm going to second guess you, the world's most brilliant coder that's ever existed. Like, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. No. Proceed.
So in essence, what you're doing here is you're pulling in, you're watching a YouTube video and it has a OpenClaw skill that's in there that they're talking about. And you're going, ooh, I like that one. Instead of typing it in myself, I'm going to just fire this link into Melvin, which is your OpenClaw instance.
Yep.
And you're going to say, ingest this skill.
Yep.
It pulls a transcript. It finds it. It says, yep, this is the exact skill. It writes its own prompt. It feeds itself in and it says, cool. Now this is part of your library.
Yep. There's a step in between. So the first thing is kind of a summary and a review. So if I wanted to implement the stuff that it says that we should implement, I would say,
That's why I use voice mode.
Yeah, and I don't use it enough. I need to use it more. But this is before I hit send. I guess I can hit enter.
I use actually a totally different, separate thing called Whisper Flow.
Oh, I've heard of it.
You just press the button and you talk, and it'll, whatever program you're on, it'll work.
I need to do that. But for anyone who doesn't know what reverse prompting is, like I didn't tell it, go ahead and implement these things. I'm saying, how would you approach implementing these? So it's going to go lean on some of the systems thinking training that I've given it, and I've given it all kinds of books and frameworks for how to do certain things. and it's going to recommend to me how it would do it. Because again, it's way smarter than I am. So the least privilege review is something that I talked about, the proceed loop. Goal, you approve boundaries, not every tiny step. Like that's what I want. And then it just recommendations, and then even the order in which it would do those things. And if I wanted to, I could say, proceed with number 2, and it would do the proceed loop upgrade and, and build that out. We don't have time for that today, but that's how I use that feature. Is I get it to, essentially, I'm just trying to give Neo kung fu.
Yeah. So, and you haven't used Claude yet.
Nope.
Like to an extent where you can do a comparison, because I'd love to get your viewpoint on that once you dig into Claude to go, oh, this is easier here, but it doesn't do X, Y, Z. Because there are differences. There's definitely differences. This being in the cloud, and as of this moment, Claude is not.
Yep.
So Claude, it processes in the cloud, but it's still run from your laptop, and it still uses a lot of open browser access, I guess, to get into stuff.
Yep.
I'm interested to know, now that you have some of these running, the things that you do have built that are just autonomous now, how well does it work? Like how smoothly is it going, or do you have to keep tweaking and modifying? Do you have to, not the stuff you want to keep adding into it.
Yeah.
Do you have to keep tweaking and modifying to keep it running?
Yeah.
What's the maintenance behind it?
I'm looking for, and I have some built-in maintenance. So if I say, so a cron job, for anybody that doesn't know, cron, I believe is just short for chronological or being time-based. It's an old, coding term, I believe. But a cron job is something that you set up to occur with some kind of frequency. It could be once a day, once an hour, once a week, once a quarter, once a year. So it's when you have something like that. So every morning I have a security review that it runs on itself. So when I wake up, it's there waiting for me, and I can scroll and I can see if there's any critical issues or anything. Thankfully, I don't have those very often. But that happens every single morning. But then I have once a week. I have certain things that are happening. If you look at these, so I had a cron job that was looking for a reply from my wife's email, which I can probably delete that one now. That was for when I was setting up the whole meal thing. This is the daily report that I was talking about. There's a parking lot review. So if have an idea for something, but I don't have the framework, it was a flash in my head and I want to save it for later and come back to it, I'll just say, hey, I have this idea, put this in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it will just go hold it there. And what it does is every morning it reviews the parking lot and it'll suggest things to me like, hey, did you know that you could do this with this idea? And just kind of help start to build those things out. The health check, a skill auditor. So every week it will go through all of my skills and it will evaluate them. Because one of the things that will kill your tokens is if you have skills that are super long, those get read every time that you go to perform that skill. So the guy who created OpenClaw just came out within the past couple of days, and I already ingested it, a way to go back and evaluate your skills and condense them if they can be condensed, and that will help with your token cost. Systems thinking. This is one of my favorite ones. I've really been getting into systems thinking with this stuff. And this is a monthly thing. It will go through all of the projects and systems that we've built to date and look at them from a systems thinking perspective to see if they need to be tweaked or can be enhanced in any way. So when I think about, when you got thinking about that, when you said maintenance, like you can build its own maintenance into itself so that it does it for you.
Nice. It's kind of that build it once, let it roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I should probably have a cron job evaluator agent that looks at all my cron jobs and checks to see if those are any good or could be improved. Or so it's fun. It's addicting.
Yeah.
I was up till midnight last night, like we talked, working on this shit. It's just crazy.
What's next? What do you want to build next that you haven't started?
Okay, so this is a wild idea that I came up with just last night. So we have underneath the deck at our house, it was just a bunch of like grass and sod and stuff and overgrown weeds.
Yeah.
And we took all that out and put a pad of concrete down. And last summer I built a bar down there just to kind of have a place to hang out. And I was down there last night using OpenClaw until midnight. And I've got right behind the bar, I was facing the bar where I was working. And there's just a blank wall behind there. We're going to put a TV eventually, but I've got a TV like up in the corner. And the theme of this bar is the Octopus Garden from the Beatles. My son introduced me to that song a couple years ago, and right about the time that I was coming up with the idea for that under the deck area, so we're just calling it the Octopus Garden. So it's going to have that theme. It's going to have like an underwater kind of theme. So I'm looking at that TV while I'm working. I'm like, holy cow, I could use AI to create a looping octopus that's like in an aquarium and build a frame around the TV screen so it looks like an aquarium up there, and it would just fit the theme. And I'm like, okay, I could use AI to come up with a loop, but then I thought I could take this a step further. I could put a little camera in there that's looking out, and it's monitoring the people that it sees. So if I wave at the octopus, it will wave back at me. And that whole thing like just popped into my head last night. Like I'm going to try to build that this summer.
Nice.
Interactive cartoon octopus that lives in this virtual aquarium up in the corner of our little bar hangout area. So that's my like big, hairy, audacious goal to build. I want to build something that on the more practical side, kind of branching off of the food management thing. It's more of like a calendar and task, like chore management, so that, sporting events, hanging out with friends, like all that stuff gets put into this central calendar that the agent has access to.
Yeah.
But also we'll schedule like, hey, it's your turn to load the dishwasher or that kind of stuff. And more like a central management type agent, like a family manager. Excuse me. So that's the more practical build that I want to work on.
Nice. A lot going on. Like hard to stop, isn't it?
It's impossible. Like we talked about this in a previous episode about music. Like I've always written songs in my head, but they never came to fruition because I didn't have a band to go and say, hey.
Right.
But now with Suno, I can bring songs to life. I've always had these crazy ass ideas too for all this kind of stuff, but I never had an outlet to make them happen. And I have that now. And I do pinch myself from time to time in saying, I can't believe I live in an era where all these wild ass ideas that I come up with can actually become something. It's
exactly
amazing.
Exactly. It's exciting. You're right, because you don't need to rely on anybody else. Now you can do so much of it yourself and build it out and do whatever you want yourself.
I remember one time I came up with an app idea. This is probably 10, 12 years ago. And I won't say the guy's name because he's a great guy, but he owns a software company here in Grand Rapids. And I had this app idea, and I found him on LinkedIn. And I reached out to him like, hey, I want to have coffee with you. I want to talk about this app idea. And this is how great of a guy he is. He knew that I had no idea what I was talking about, but he still took the coffee with me and humored me and listened to my ideas. And he goes, well, that's probably going to be about $100,000 build. And I didn't have a penny at that time.
Sure.
So I didn't have, it was never going to become anything. Like, and I had all kinds of app ideas and things like that, but cost, and I can do all this now for $20 a month. It's what I'm paying for my ChatGPT subscription to use those tokens.
Yep.
It's just amazing. If you're a creative and you're not using AI right now, you're missing out on the ability to bring those things to life that have been bounced around in your head forever. Go do it. Just go build. you saw my mission control board. It looks like dog shit. I don't care. I still built it.
Right.
There's still parts that are functional, and 90% of it I want to delete. But that I can do that later. Just go build things and screw it up and break stuff, and you'll figure it out. And you'll have a hell of a lot of fun along the way if you really get into it.
And I still maintain if you're literally just starting to use stuff and you're like, I have no idea even where to begin, just ask it. Just literally ask it. What can I build with you? How should I even think about building any kind of app or productivity, whatever, using you? What ideas could I do? And it'll start spitting out a ton of stuff.
You and I do that all the time. Like, you just watched me do it. I asked it how it would build it.
Yep.
If you think that because we do this all day and we have this podcast and this is what our companies do, that we're some genius prompters, we're not. Like, we're morons who just love this stuff and can't.
It's just a sense of
not
curiosity.
Yeah. Ask it, and it will help you along. And you just go back and forth. Treat it like a thought partner, like somebody that you just want to build cool shit with, and you'll get there.
Exactly. That's awesome, buddy. I'm excited to see what you're doing with this.
Yeah.
I want to see where this goes in the next 3-4 months.
Will you have me back?
Maybe. If I can fit you in, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Pete. If you like today's episode, or if you have an OpenClaw project that you're working on, we'd love to hear what you're building in OpenClaw. We'd love that user feedback to really understand what people are into, and it helps shape our show of what topics we should bring to the table. And hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks, everybody.